Today we're going to talk about the autograph market of this guy, Mr. Zion Williamson. Where do I see his market going? Also, best pens for autograph use. And also 2 more signings to announce today. Those are today's topics in episode 20 of the Power Sports Memorabilia Show. Hi everybody, welcome back to episode 20 of the Powers Sports Memorabilia Show. I am your host, Matt Powers. Thank you again for joining me. Please hit that subscribe button wherever you are watching, listening. I always appreciate that and your guys' feedback. So, a lot to get to today. A lot of good topics here and some ones that I'm going to throw in that I didn't mention at the beginning. So, a couple things I want to talk about today. Lots going on in the business and also in the industry world. But let's jump right into it. First topic of the day, we're going to talk about Mr. Zion Williamson. Now, as of this video here, we're on April 11th, 2019. I have not heard of any announcement that he's going to be going to the NBA, but I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that he is going to the NBA. If your coach is Coach K and he tells you to go to the NBA, you go to the NBA. Okay? I mean, the guy's a great player. The fitness of this guy is just phenomenal. I mean, I played with a guy in high school who was not nearly as tall as Zion. Shout out to Jason Hardy, boy. Hopefully you're listening out there. But he was about 6'3", 260 maybe on a generous day. And he moved like Zion. And I just remember him just being impossible to guard. Just because you don't see that body shape all the time, you know. And to have a guy that athletic move that well is really hard to do. So, it looks like he's going to be going potentially, number 1 overall to the Knicks. That's going to be a great place for him, obviously memorabilia-wise. So we'll see if the Knicks get that top pick. Hopefully it goes to them, just like when they had Patrick Ewing and the supposed issues around that lottery, but hopefully it's a clean lottery and they get him right off the bat and can do some good things with him because, man, the Knicks basketball, man, get that thing turned around is just a good thing for the NBA. So where do I see his autograph market going? I mean, right now it's super expensive, of course, There's just not much out there on Zion. You got a couple basketballs out there, occasionally a couple jerseys, but, I've seen a couple of them going for, or at least listing for $1,000 or so. Personally, that's obviously a little too high. He's probably right now in that kind of $300 to $500 range, in my opinion, for basketballs, and maybe towards the $500 for the jerseys. But once he goes to the NBA, and let's say he goes to the Knicks, whoa, the price is going to go way up. Remember when Ben Simmons came out of LSU, 2 years ago or so? And he signed the big deal with Upper Deck, right? Yeah, Upper Deck. And I was just looking at some of their pricing, and he's like $500 for a ball and $700 for a jersey. And Ben's a tough autograph. Don't get me wrong. You're not really going to get him in person. So if you want a quality item, Upper Deck's kind of your only option. But man, that's expensive for somebody who really hasn't done a whole lot in the NBA. I mean, who is really worth all that much in the NBA right now? I mean, LeBron maybe, but even he's fallen off. He's not nearly, obviously, as popular as he was last year, the year before, back when he was playing with the Cavs. So, there's going to be 4 players that are going to be probably vying for Zion's autograph exclusive, because this guy's definitely going to sign an exclusive. There's no way he doesn't. So, you're looking at, of course, Steiner, Panini, Upper Deck, and Fanatics. Those are the 4 big guys that are going to have the money to be able to do this. If he goes to New York, who's going to be, really, really pushing for that. Where's his autograph potentially going to be? Okay, this is just saying if he goes to the Knicks, which is a high possibility right now. I could potentially see him being like a $700 ball and like a $1,000 jersey for a guy who hasn't really done much, obviously in college. He was only there for 1 year, and obviously hasn't done anything in the NBA just yet. But Zion's got that quote-unquote it factor, LeBron had that same thing. LeBron wasn't a great shooter like Zion isn't. Zion definitely has some holes in the game, but you know what? He's a first-year college player. Of course he's going to have holes in his game. But the reason why he's being picked number 1 is because the potential for him to fill those holes and become even better is, way up here as opposed to really probably maybe one other player in the NBA draft. So potentially Zion could be a top 15 player in the league, pretty quickly. But, do I see his autograph value being worth that? Obviously not, There's going to be some people that pick that stuff up just because they're a big Duke fan, or you've got crazy Knick fan, and there's a lot of those, so maybe it'll sell. But I don't know. He's got that it factor, and I talked about that. So would I invest personally, if I were in your shoes, in Zion Williamson at this particular moment? I guess I would have to see, obviously, where the pricing is and what kind of stuff becomes available. I think to start off with, if he goes to the Knicks, this Knicks stuff is going to be very, very hot right off the bat. So personally, I would say no, but it just depends on how big of a Knick fan you are, how big of a Duke fan you are. Is Zion one of the greatest Duke players of all time? Talent-wise, probably, but overall, your entire career, definitely not. You got guys like Leitner, Grant Hill, J.J. Redick, those type of guys that are way above Zion and a much more affordable autograph. So if you're a Duke fan, make sure you pick up some of those stuff in your collection for those guys. But, we'll see. Time will play out. I'm going to be interested to see who he signs with as far as an autograph deal and the pricing, because there's going to be so much competitiveness for it. It's going to be driving the price up. I mean, it's going to be, I don't know, $1 million deal? I don't know. We'll see. But it's going to be good for basketball if he goes to the Knicks. Just in my opinion, I think it's going to be really, really good for the NBA. So hopefully we'll see how that turns out there. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this NBA draft. I really like watching Zion in that March Madness. It sucks that it didn't go any further, but man, you get that guy the ball in the low block, it is just game over. They throw 3 or 4 guys at him, it doesn't matter. He's going right through them. So it was fun to watch him while he was at Duke there. Next topic here, and this is kind of one that's kind of been on my mind a little bit lately, and I just haven't really kind of found the time to bring it up, and I was debating whether or not to bring it up because it just seems so trivial, but it's worth mentioning, and the reason why I think it's worth mentioning is just in the overall positivity of your life, and obviously there's a lot of Facebook groups out there that do autograph stuff, like, and they have groups that do other stuff, they razz stuff and all that stuff that I don't do, okay? But of course there are groups out there that they buy and sell autographs, and that's great, man. Those groups are just awesome to see that. But there's obviously a ton of negativity in there. And granted, I get it, it's the internet. But, the one thing I want to say about when, dealing with autographs and dealing with just stuff in your personal life is, what type of energy do you want to be bringing back to your life? And what I mean by that is there's just so many, people post about problems, really. Not necessarily, hey, look at this, everything's going great, look at this, and I think people just interject themselves into other people's problems when it doesn't need to happen, Sometimes silence is the best tool to use. There's bound to have something negative happen in your life, I mean, just this last week, man, I had an issue with the autograph signing that, didn't go the way that I had planned it happening, and customers didn't have it go the way they wanted to go either, and man, I was in a rut. I was just feeling terrible about it, and, I hate disappointing people. That is like one of the, least favorite things in my life to do, especially when it comes to my business, because I tell people I'm going to, come through for you, and when I don't, granted, there are external circumstances that really affect what I do, but ultimately it's my responsibility. So, you see in these groups that people just don't take responsibility for stuff, and you see it in life a lot too. And I just wanted to share my experience quick with that. But the biggest thing for me is if I can take responsibility for problems in my business and in personal life, that is a huge step for me, just to go in and start living in the solution. There's so easy to live in the problem, and life is just one of those things where it's like the negativity will just drag you down. It just beats you up mentally and then physically. And so I just encourage all you guys that are part of these Facebook groups and part of just autograph stuff in general, is always try to bring the positivity and give people some honest and good feedback on solutions so they can get out of the problem and start living in that solution to fix their problem. with autograph signings, there's bound to be something that goes wrong. Excuse me. The pen doesn't go right. It gets damaged in shipping. Sometimes that stuff happens. It's very, very rare. But when you do an autograph signing of like 1,000 pieces, and there's a lot of moving parts, and the athlete's just trying to get as done as he can, the agent's trying to get it done as he can, and you're trying to get it done as quick as you can, there's going to be mistakes, man. There's a lot of humans involved. And so just realizing that right off the bat and asking the person that messed up, say, hey, what can you do to help me? And I think that is really just the biggest thing, I think, is just being as helpful as you can, overly helpful sometimes, especially when things go bad, So, I don't know. I think people realize things are going to go bad, but taking responsibility for it first and then going over the top and trying to help people is always a good reflection on you and your character. Like I said, I hate when things go wrong in this industry, but they're bound to. It's just so many variables that go into it. So, just my little tip for the day for positivity. Bring some positive energy back in your life. People want to be around that stuff. Nobody wants to be around Debbie Downer. So, anyway, moving along here. There's a great blog post that I put up last week about the best pens to use for autographs. And I know a lot of you guys get questions about this, what pens are to use for jerseys and baseballs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go through the entire article here, but if you jump on the website, powersportsmemorabilia.com, if you click on the blog link right at the top there, you'll see Cubs team signed baseball there, and it'll say what are the best pens for autographs, and it just kind of goes through here different types of pens that I've used for baseballs and jerseys and helmets and stuff like that. And it gives you just some kind of tips and whatnot. So when you get a chance, go ahead and scroll through that. It should be some good information for you. And hopefully it will help get a nice little autograph that'll pop for you on your next item. I'm still working on that helmet. Maybe you've seen that on the Facebook or Instagram, where I'm working on a helmet. I'm just putting new pens on there, and then I'm also be doing that on a black baseball and MLB ball. So I'm just going to write on them myself and show them to you, and that way you can actually get a physical reference to what that pen looks like. But some good information for you on there on the website, powersportsmemorabilia.com. Last two more things here is, one is the Patrick Mahomes MVP autograph collection is now in stock. He knows how to write 18 MVP on some jerseys and some helmets. The footballs, not so much. I don't know what happened with those footballs, but this goes back to what I was just talking about. I don't have any control over what he writes on that football. I mean, if it looks like junk, which I think the footballs are rough, man. The jerseys look great. Helmets look good too. But I don't know. I don't really complain about what an athlete's autograph looks like. That's just what it is. But the inscriptions, you should really take your time and write those in English. People are paying extra for that. It's not like it's just part of your autograph. People are paying extra for the inscription. So if you don't want to write 18 NFL MVP, that's fine. I get it. You want to shorten it up to 18 MVP because you got 1 million signatures to get through? That's cool. I'm fine with that. But make sure it reads 18 MVP and not 10M or something like that. I mean, it's just hard. It's hard for me to sell that, and it's tough for the customer when they get that item and they're like, well, I was kind of expecting this and I got this, and there's nothing worse than being let down on a crappy inscription or a crappy pen. That's just, the inscription's the worst part when you just can't read it. Like, what is it? What does that say? It's like in hieroglyphs. But so you can check it out. You can see the footballs online. I posted some pictures of them. Whoa. Maybe his next signing would be better. I don't know. I doubt it, though. And then 2 autograph signings to announce for you today. The deadline for Jacob deGrom, last year's National League Cy Young Award winner, is like today or tomorrow. It's pretty quick. But if you need something done after the fact, I will probably have some baseballs and photos and some jerseys. So if you need something on that. Mike Trout, another Trout signing coming up here. I need all your items by the 23rd. So that's from now. It's about 12 days from now. So again, all the pricing's up there on the website. Just go up to powersportsmemorabilia.com, click on upcoming signings. If you're looking at $325 to send in your ball or photos up to 16 by 20 size. Of course, I can do jerseys and all that kind of fun stuff for you too. So Some good stuff for you there. That's all I got for you today. Kind of went a little longer than I expected, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. I was having fun. So thanks again, guys, for listening. I always appreciate it. And then again, if you guys can hit that subscribe button wherever you are and check out the website if you get some free time on your hands. But again, powersportsmemorabilia.com. That's episode 20. Thanks again, guys. I will see you next week for episode 21.